The following statement was issued by BUPA to RTTV in light of my recent interview on going underground. I shall read each extract of what BUPA are saying, and I shall respond to each allegation. BUPA say that they have never offered any money to Mrs. Chubb. Mrs. Chubb and 6 others were awarded a total of £1,500 by an employment tribunal. That is totally untrue. Our solicitor was negotiating with BUPA behind our back and was offered £70,000 by BUPA in exchange for getting us to settle before being awarded any money, because BUPA didn't want us being awarded any money in a court because it would reflect badly on them. So BUPA offered to settle and pay our solicitor £70,000. I sacked our solicitor and put a complaint into her professional body that she was representing her interests and not our interests. There was no price that BUPA could have paid to keep us quiet, no price whatsoever, and I've always been clear on that, and I can prove what I'm saying, and I've said all of this in my book, which was published in 2008. Then BUPA say the tribunal awarded us £1,500. Well, that's not true, because we told the tribunal we would not be present at any remedial hearing because we were appealing the verdict through the High Court, but they just ignored us. On health and safety issues, yes. I see how BUPA are still trying to play down the fact that it was abuse of vulnerable people. It was not a health and safety issue. The tribunal did not uphold any of the other claims. Actually, the tribunal gave BUPA assurances, and we have written proof of this, obviously, in everything I say, there's written documentation to uphold it. BUPA were given assurances by the employment tribunal that the inquiry report that fully upheld all of our allegations into the abuse of the vulnerable people in Izzard House. BUPA were given assurances that that document would never be disclosed in the tribunal hearing. And then BUPA turned around and said they're liars and nothing has been upheld, and the tribunal let them do that, and the very document that upheld everything was omitted from the tribunal. I don't even have words to say what I think of that, but because of the conduct of the tribunal and the panel of the tribunal, BUPA have been able to call us liars for 15 years, even though we have all of the evidence to uphold what we're saying. Then BUPA go on to say that they've never accepted the account provided by me to the media as a fair and accurate account of events in 1999 or subsequently. We know that they've denied the abuse. We know that they tried to cover up the abuse. We know that PEDA and the Employment Tribunal system aided and abetted the cover-up of the abuse of the people, but the evidence is there. That's why I was able to publish my book in 2008, because it's all true and BUPA know it's true. Now, there's been so many occasions when I've had calls from the media saying that BUPA have put out a statement saying you're a liar and that the inquiry report didn't uphold anything at all. And I've had to, luckily, fortunately, I had a copy of the inquiry report and I've been able to fax it or email it to the media in defence of what BUPA have been saying about us. And now BUPA have changed the tack to say, oh, you know, nothing about the inquiry report. Now it's the Employment Tribunal that suppressed the inquiry report that they're relying on. And BUPA go on to say, at all times, I was treated fairly and properly. Well, all I can say is that BUPA have got a very poor idea of what is fair and what is proper, because, to be honest, you crucified whistleblowers. You left people with nothing. You bought chocolates for the staff that spat at us and called us names and assaulted us, and you promoted the person who hit me in the back with a chair and did nothing whatsoever. So, to be honest, what your idea of proper and fair is not most decent people's idea of what's proper and fair. Then you go on to say that there's been a number of independent external reports. Actually, there's been one including the independent pharmacist, which fully upheld all of the allegations of abuse, fully upheld. And the head of the inquiry team, Richard Turner, even went into the employment tribunal and said that, you know, what you'd done to us, and that he'd been present when we told a man called Des Kelly everything, and he later denied that we told him anything at all. So pretty much, you know, what you call proper and fair and true is basically very dodgy. Then you go on to say that BUPA has a robust whistleblowing scheme. Hence why we want Edna's Law, because people who have whistleblowing policies and schemes and helplines betray whistleblowers and fail people. Edna suffered and died in your care home, and all you've done is say it was just a minor inconvenience, it was just a minor thing. People were abused and left whimpering like animals in corners. And to be honest, I've left you alone and have tried to just get on and do something positive for other people and try to get some good to come from this, and to show that people like Edna have got a voice. Because as long as there is breath in my body, I will bear witness for her. And as far as I'm concerned, BUPA, you are basically disgusting. And just 15 years we've been called liars publicly, and that is the price that a whistleblower pays, and that is the price that Edna paid, and that is the price of PEDA and employment tribunals. A whistleblowing scheme, well, you can put your whistleblowing scheme where you can put your money, and that is basically where the sun doesn't shine. Yes, it hurts and it frustrates me to think that even after 15 years you're still denying, in the face of insurmountable evidence to the contrary. We have all the medical records that were being burnt in the care home that we got out in time. We have all of the documentation. We have 27 independent witnesses. We have a book that was published in 2008 listing all of this evidence, including the cross-examination of your people, which did not look good. You know, hiding known abusers that like torturing people for fun in other care homes, rather than face the fact that, you know, we were telling the truth. Well, I've got something to tell you. We were telling the truth. You knew we were telling the truth. And I'm sorry if you feel that I'm the monster that you created, because I am the monster that you created, and I will stand with Edna and all those other people that you hold so cheap, and whose suffering you hold so cheap. And that's all I have to say.